When you realize that not everybody went to Turkey for vacation.
Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey chapter 252. It is the first day of the week, aka the Kamehameha workout. I am feeling pretty good, very excited. It's about to be raining outside, so maybe doing this workout in the dark. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. Today's subject matter is the Turkey to male insecurities pipeline. Now, this entire episode is based on the people that are bald. In my case, I have hair that grows, but I'm also balding from the back. I don't know if the camera will even pick that up, but that's why I decided to take the hat off for this one, because I do not care that I am bald, and neither should you. And let's discuss that. Why? Because I feel like a lot of men are too connected to their hair. I understand where they might be very connected because the idea of being bald is one of those things that I've talked about before, but also as well, being bald is something that they can't handle, which is something that happens a lot. And I think that, yes, there are things that you can do to stop it. Obviously, you can go out to Turkey and do that stuff. But in reality, you're probably, one, delaying the situation, or two, not grabbing the bull by the horns and fucking it up its ass. And what I mean by that is you're letting the insecurities control you, which people will understandably recognize and see, and thus making everything that you're doing it for kind of vanish. So sure, yes, you might be able to have a full head of hair in about a year's time if it works out for you, hopefully, because there might be a chance that it doesn't, because it doesn't always work. But because you didn't get behind the 8 ball and just went bald, now you're kind of stuck there in a weird limbo where people will know, really. And obviously it works out for some people. I'm not going to say it doesn't. I think that if you are looking to hold on to some weird youthful thing, it is quite literally one of the worst things that you could do for a lot of different reasons, because it speaks to a lot of your insecurities. And we'll talk more about other things that it comes along with the insecurities and things like that, because I have a lot to say about these types of people. And you probably shouldn't be one of them. If you're bald, be proud to be bald. It's fine. Most people don't care. Realistically, no one cares, honestly. The only person that really cares is the person in the mirror. And if you have somebody that actually cares about your hair and that it looks a certain way, they don't really care about you. So, and we'll talk about that when we get to Mother Base. All right, so started this day off with dips, which were pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. The Turkey to male insecurity pipeline. So the main reason why I wanted to talk about this was the prevalence of, in the Instagram feed that I was going down, I would see a lot of dudes end up doing this whole hair transplant thing. And personally, I can understand it in certain senses, but in other senses, I don't understand it. The big reason why I have a giant gripe with it is the fact that a lot of these people don't realize that, one, they are inviting the idea of other surgeries to come in. It's like once you open that door, it stays open. And then after that, you start chasing the purple dragon. What does that mean? That means that you start doing anything and everything in order to chase the imaginary image that you have of yourself that is ever changing and ever present and ever evolving. Unfortunately for people, they chase the dragon into the hellscape that is plastic surgeries and other horrors that we've seen before it. There hasn't been somebody that has gotten major plastic surgery that has looked good afterwards. You cannot convince me of it. At this point, you got to understand that this is like the first step in the long line of other steps that are just going to lead you down the same road. And it's the same thing because it is an alteration to yourself that you're going to see. And then all of a sudden, all the other imperfections are going to start coming out. Maybe, sure, you might have had hair one day and now you want to go back to that, but it's not the same because it's an artificial hair. Sure, they might have gotten it from a donor place on you or whatever they do. I don't know the process that they do in order to get the hair,
But still, it is something that's going to open the door for other things in order for you to decide to change your physical attributes, which is only going to go down a pathway into hell. I don't know how anybody doesn't see how this isn't just the same thing as like something like other plastic surgeries or even steroids, things like that, which is astonishing to me because they're all over the place. This happens all the time. It's very frustrating to see these types of things. It's just astonishing to me that people never make the connection there. They think it's a one and done type of thing, but in reality, it's never like that. I would like to see one person tell me, oh, this is the only thing I've done, or even contemplated after doing it. You know, it's just an unnatural thing that happens to happen. And I think that everybody that deals with it doesn't realize that they're going to open that door. And once it's open, it'll never close, and that purple dragon is going to stay there forever. Now I'll say this. The loss of your hair will drive your sexual market value down. I will say that. It will drive it down. I'm not going to be like a bastard about that. Of course, this is just how it is. Unfortunately, bald dudes have it worse. But as well, a bad hair job will also bring down your sexual market value because people can tell immediately that something is not right. And that's also just as bad. So you are in a 50-50 there as well. So it kind of sucks. At a certain point, this is my personal belief, you got to let certain parts of nature just take over. I understand the idea of trying to fight it and trying to get behind it and trying to get above it, but I am also one that says those who try to cling on to this youthful nature for too long is just not realizing half of life is just maturing. Sure, you want to try to have your youthful looks, and it's understandable. Obviously, you become more desirable to the opposite sex or even the same sex, depending, if you try to look youthful, but still, there's just a certain point where if you don't let it happen gracefully, it's going to hit like a ton of bricks all at once. And I think people don't realize that. They think that it's going to be one of those things that they can just slowly do into the decline. And you can do things that are preventative in order to get there, but it is more of a holistic, natural thing instead of doing these major surgeries that are going to just push you back up in the air but make you crash into that wall even harder. When you are doing it naturally or in using whatever remedies that you can get your hands on that are relatively maybe not as invasive, you can also just do it. You can do it like a slow glide into an older state rather than the hard crash that'll happen after all the surgeries. Another thing is learning to accentuate what you have, the things that make you look better. So for me personally, I know it's my beard. I like accentuating it. That's what helps me because I can grow a full beard. Some people can't do that, but they might have other characteristics that they might be able to accentuate to make themselves be better. And I don't understand why they don't just do that. Stop focusing on the thing that's not going to make you any better. Start focusing on other things that can make you better. I mean, realistically, how many of these guys are bald and have a shit physique, but they care about the hair because the hair is going to get them, not the physique that would probably give them the self-confidence in order to have a better chance. Or just, try to grow facial hair because they say it's itchy for like 5 minutes.
Look at this baldy. Well, we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed. None. Exercises skipped. Also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter here. The Turkey to male insecurities pipeline. So the main reason why I wanted to talk about this was because of the fact that, one, I'm bald, so I get it. And I'm bald. I should say that I wanted to talk about this because, one, I'm balding, so I kind of get it. I understand the entire idea of, wanting to get a hair transplant. But I understand as well, too, that my entire world does not revolve around my hair. And I think that many dudes, particularly, should understand that. And the fact that it probably should worry you a little bit. Because realistically, if you are clinging on to your looks, there are other probable things that are more likely more important than that, one. And two, it is a realistically feminine trait in order to want to cling on to those things realistically, as well as a insecurity that will never be able to leave you. You're forever chasing that dragon. That happens as well with steroids, and there is some crossover there, but that's a whole other conversation. But there is that forever you're going to be paranoid that you're going to lose your hair and it's going to screw you over one day once you won't be able to afford all the stuff to make sure the hair keeps coming back. And two, when one day it just falls out. Maybe genetics just win. You know, there's sometimes where you're just screwed. Stress might make it so your hair becomes bald anyway. And I think that the sooner you understand that you can't control some things in life, the better, because then you can let it go and it doesn't have to control you. This weird obsession of having to hold on to this weird thing that grows on your head and then it grows everywhere else, or some weird bullshit that realistically you're getting fed through from some social media somewhere, and that tells you look maxing or whatever bullshit that you believe in is trying to get you to look at a certain point, when in reality you have a terrible personality and that's realistically what's making you single and or undesirable to others. But for some reason you are deciding that it is your hair, the one thing that is making you you for some weird fucking reason. You should probably stop that, because realistically people can smell it on you, one. And two, well, that'll actually be a whole episode on a different day. But two, the sooner you get it and the sooner you can control it, the less it'll control you. And I think that that is the main reason why these types of videos, or things like all of the balding dudes trying to go get hair transplants, piss me off the most about it. It's like their insecurities are controlling them. They have no agency on their own life. For some reason or another, they are incapable of just letting life live. They have to fight and claw their way to keep something that was naturally going. Sure, you might not look as good as you did when you had hair, but nothing screams worse than trying to cling on for dear life to that little bit of hair that you have. Just let it go, brother. You're better off. And besides, most people will commend you for the fact that, oh, you went bald. Boom. No one cares after that. Literally, absolutely no one. And if people do care, they aren't people that are valuable. They are people who value things that are meaningless because they have nothing else to show for it. That is something that most people should understand about things like this. Realistically, if you care about hair, if on somebody else's head, you are stupid. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because I swear to you, it does not matter. Now, this is all for guys. Completely different if you're a woman. But still, the entire idea that somebody is with you because of your hair is kind of stupid and ridiculous. If anybody ever tells you that, leave them. Why? Because if they were there for one thing and one thing alone, come on, brother. Come on. So this entire video is more for my dudes anyway, but I think it's just personally something frustrating to see these types of things over and over again and like basically promoted. And also it's the same clinic doing everything. I'm pretty sure. I'm 99% sure they're paying for influencers to do this. So then that way they can, you know, fingers crossed, get a whole bunch of insecure dudes to do it. Just let it go, man. You're better off. Don't let the insecurities control you. Control them before they just become the ever-present dragon in the room that you're going to have to slay every day because for some reason you decided to let it get this far. So, with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. Tell me how you think of me holding the mic versus having it on the cap normally. The only reason I have the cap on is just so I don't have to do this. I personally am not a fan of this, but let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions about that are, or anything else that I've talked about in this video, because a lot of it is probably going to rub some people the wrong way, but please let me know. Anyways, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please stay safe out there. Stay warm out there. Keep it heavy, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!